Hello. Today we'll be talking about database selection. As a reference librarian, one of our most important and useful tools is the reference interview. So in order to determine exactly what the user is looking for, we must conduct a thorough reference interview. Once we've figured out what the user is looking for specifically, we'll be able to direct them to the most appropriate database or resource for their desired subject. In this case, we'll be looking at databases. First, we'll go to the Jackson Library website here and use this little database link that's right under the search bar. From there, we can find databases that the Jackson Library subscribes to and are available for student use. So, for example, let's say a religious studies student is looking for an appropriate resource to examine the cultural influences on religion, or vice versa. The first thing we want to do is look to see if there is a corresponding database that they will be able to use. So we'll use this Databases tab, and from there we'll begin to navigate towards the R section, R for religion. That would be the best place to start. So we will click there, and we'll scroll down because they are organized alphabetically. So go down, down. And here it looks like we have two options that are available. And potential answers for our user. So we'll look at the descriptions just to see which one would be the best one for them. So this religion and philosophy collection here, if we click on this information tab, it says researchers will gain a valuable insight into the impact religion has had on culture throughout history, including literature, arts, and language. So that seems like it would be a pretty good option for our user. But just to make sure, we can go down here and look at the religious magazine archive. Which could be another option for them. It's a digital archive that runs, let's see here, from mid-1800s until 2015. So it has stopped publication, actually. And if they're looking for something that is very recent, this might not be the best way for them to go. So now, let's say, for example, that this patron is also searching for a periodical on the same subject. Much like the Databases tab on under the search bar, we have a journal list. So one tricky thing about this search tool, though, if we click on that, is that you actually need to use Boolean logic in order to get good results. So let's just first type in here religion, because that's what we're looking for, and then we'll just hit search. That gives us a pretty wide variety of resources, and it gives us 4 pages. So that's a lot of information to sift through. So let's go back, and we will implement this Boolean logic. So let's say religion, and then we'll also use culture. And then we will say match any words, so that it'll search both religion and culture. So really, it looks like this first option is going to be pretty good. It might be exactly what they're looking for. So we can click on that and look for more information. Let's see here. The coverage is from 2000 to present, so it is still in publication. And it has full text availability, so we can view the full text. And let's just go ahead and have a look at that. And if you go through the UNCG website, it is subscribed to this journal, and so we can actually look at all the different volumes and everything like that. So it seems like this would probably be a good option for our patron. It is important, though, to remember that some online resources, like journals, have limited coverage after a certain date, so only go back so far and may produce unsatisfactory results due to gaps in the coverage. And finally, we have just some brief tips on how to be a successful reference librarian. We'll often find ourselves in a teaching position, so don't be afraid to guide the patron through this process. Rather than just giving them the results, teaching patrons can equip them with the ability to achieve success on their own, and it leaves them with a positive association with the library and with reference. Second, it's extremely helpful to know the scope of the various indexes and abstracts. So having a general knowledge of what some of the major resources contains will be immediately helpful in knowing and showing patrons where to look. Third, when in doubt, consult an encyclopedia, or a dictionary. It's okay to admit that you're not familiar with a topic that a patron is looking for, and it's best to phrase your response to them as something like, I don't really know much about this topic, let's find out more together, so that you don't give them the impression that they're on their own in their search. And finally, remember what I said about the reference interview. It's the most important thing you can do for your user is to understand what they need. This is accomplished through the reference interview, and you should understand the kind and quality of information that the user is seeking.